Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Nasim here. Now, the iPhone 13 Pro Max has been out for almost a year now, and there are many of you guys wondering if it's still worth buying this late in the year. So in this video, I wanted to share my experience with you guys and give you one simple statement that I think wraps up the 13 Pro Max as a whole. And that statement is, I think that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is still the safest iPhone that you can get in 2022. And I say this because the iPhone 14 Pro Max is coming out within the next couple of months, and while there's a lot of hype behind it, many of us aren't sure if it'll actually be as good, if not better, than the 13 Pro Max. And that's where the safety within this phone comes in. We all know that the 13 Pro Max has the best battery life in the market. We all know that the 13 Pro Max can run the latest versions of iOS really well. We all know that the 13 Pro Max has an amazing display that is not only big, but is of quality. And finally, we all know that it has an amazingly powerful chip that can do anything on command and is not afraid to handle any power heavy apps. So if you're someone who wants a great phone, you don't need the newest chip, you don't really care about having a notch on the front screen, and you don't care about having the latest device, then the 13 Pro Max will be the perfect phone for you. Because if we're being honest, the iPhone 14 Pro Max won't be way better than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. You'll still be able to have iOS 16. The battery is already great, so you don't need that much more improvement there, and you'll most likely get the exact same experience since the chips will be extremely identical. But again, I wanted to give you guys my experience so that you can know that the 13 Pro Max is still a great phone to get, even if the newer phone is coming out. And before I share my experience with you guys, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Exter. Now, Exter is a company that makes high quality essentials that'll make your daily life much easier, providing luxurious yet affordable items like card holders, wallets, different types of trackers, cases, and even premium bags. Now, what drew me to Exter was the fact that I had pretty much been carrying big bulky wallets around my entire life. It was really hard to put them in certain pants, and it felt very uncomfortable whenever I walked or sat down when it was in my pockets. And that's where Exter's AirTag wallet comes in. It's the slimmest and smartest wallet since it gives you additional tracking methods with a compartment for your AirTag, stores up to 12 cards along with cash, and is made up of high quality, environmentally friendly leather. Also, whenever I'm using one of my Android devices and can't track my AirTag wallet, I also have the luxurious carbon fiber card holder that can carry up to 15 cards and is also trackable thanks to my Exter tracker card that allows you to find it even when it's way out of range. The tracker card can also be used to take selfies for up to 200 feet away and is compatible with Siri, Google Home, and Alexa. But the best part about the tracker card is that it's solar powered, so if you let it sit in the sun for 3 hours, it'll give you a full 2 months worth of charge, which is really cool and environmentally friendly. And also, make sure you click the link in the description or use the discount code Nasim so that you can get 25% off of your order. The summer sale lasts till August 3rd, so make sure you get a good discount on some amazing products. And again, I wanted to thank today's sponsor, Exter, for providing high quality essentials that made carrying and tracking my cards so much easier. Now let's get back to the video. Now, the iPhone 13 Pro Max has a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR display that pretty much is the exact same as the 12 Pro Max, but with one major difference. And unlike the 12 Pro Max, the 13 Pro Max has a 120Hz display. Now, the new and improved refresh rate was something that I noticed when I first got this phone, and it felt very fresh. The 120Hz mixed with the smooth software really gave me a much more premium experience that still holds up almost a year later. And even though it still feels premium, I will admit that I'm pretty much used to it and the new factor wore off, but I still really appreciate the change that Apple was able to make, even though they were very late. And now when it comes to size, there were times where it would be annoying, but also times where it was beneficial. Like whenever it came to anything visual, like watching content, scrolling through social media, or taking pictures, it was pretty great. But again, my biggest problem with the size was that it would hurt my pinky finger whenever I was holding it since it was too big and heavy. And also the fact that I had to continuously extend my thumb just so I could reach the top. And even though there are ways to get around the reaching problem, I still wanted to let you guys know since this is something that you will encounter. The responsiveness still holds up really well whenever I'm doing things like scrolling through apps, going through the interface, and even customizing my home screen. I've never really had any problems with it up until this point. The only time my screen will lag on me is when it would be hot outside and my phone would get really hot. But something else that I really wanted to note was that if you do get the 13 Pro or Pro Max, they do get hot much more often, and because of the stainless steel materials, these phones are more prone to overheat. Now, the screen resolution and visual experience on the 13 Pro Max was easily my favorite parts of the display. I really enjoy how vibrant it could get at times, and it wasn't the best in the market, but it definitely held its own weight. There were many times that I thoroughly enjoyed watching TV shows and movies on the 13 Pro Max, and the size greatly benefited as well. And now I want to give you guys an example of me playing the game and watching the video so that you can get an idea of how the display actually is.
Terrific shot by Bryant.
The next thing that I want to look at is the battery. Now the 13 Pro Max has a 4300 milliamp hour battery that lasted me a full day of high usage. I will be doing things like shooting videos, scripting videos, being on social media, and even occasionally playing games whenever I got bored. And on a daily basis, I would average about 8 to 9 hours of on-screen time, which was a really good amount of time to really put a strain on the device. But if you are someone like me who was getting 8 to 9 hours, then this phone will last you. I will usually end my days with about 15 to 20% whenever I had to record a video, and on days where I wasn't recording, I would end my day with about 40 to 50%, which was still really good. And right now, my battery health is at 94%, and I think that's because I use my phone for work, as a GPS, and for media consumption, so more than likely your battery health will be much better than mine. Now when it comes to charging, I will say that the 20-watt brick charged it pretty fast whenever I needed extra juice, but that's no excuse, and I really think Apple should improve the wattage on their chargers, because if we're paying top dollar, we do need faster charging. And even though the 20-watt fast charger was outdated, the battery was so good that I really needed to charge it during the day, so I wasn't complaining too much. Now the software on the 13 Pro Max is pretty much the same as any other iPhone that I have been using, and out of all of those phones, I will say that this one ran it the best. Whenever you want to implement widgets into your home screen, the size of this phone makes it much more clear, and even when I was putting my email widgets on the next page, everything was much easier to read. I also really loved how every social media app was well integrated within iOS 15. The apps had great screen ratio and were a perfect fit. Accessing apps through notifications felt very engaging, and most apps use the actual iPhone camera, so there were no compromises. And the best thing that I loved about iOS 15 was how well it integrated with other Apple devices. The fact that I can instantly airdrop pictures to my laptop, the fact that group chats and iMessage were much smoother than any other messaging apps, and the fact that all of my settings could spread throughout my other devices. Now moving on to speakers, just like the MacBook Pro or the iPad, Apple had pretty much followed the exact same formula with the 13 Pro Max, and that's why they are the best out of any smartphone that I have heard so far. Like whenever I'm at home, I usually chill and watch videos, so that's the only time where I'm using the outer speakers, and I was always satisfied with how they sounded. Now there were some times where I would play music out loud while I was getting ready for work, and I really liked the sound quality. The bass was okay, but the instrumentals and vocals were incredibly loud and rich. And to give you guys an idea of how good the speakers are, I wanted to play a video and turn the volume all the way up. Now the 13 Pro Max has a 12 megapixel wide, ultra wide, and telephoto lens that I will say was pretty much the same as the 12 Pro Max, but that's not really a bad thing at all. Again, my favorite part of the camera was how well it was able to take photos outside. Like right here, you can see how well it captures skies, trees, and even the streets and sidewalks. Selfies were also really good, my skin tone was accurate, and one thing that I really appreciated was that my face didn't look too bright. Like whenever I would take pictures on other phones, it didn't handle lighting as well. Inside photos were really nice as well. There was little grain whenever I took photos that weren't in good lighting. The camera at times would create its own lighting, which still really improved photos. And I also really liked how nice it was able to capture different objects and give them a very clean look that again didn't give off too much sharpness, which resulted in really good pictures. And now when it comes to video quality, the 13 Pro Max is, in my opinion, the best out of any smartphone. And to show you guys what I mean, here's some videos that I took on it. So here's my final question. Is the iPhone 13 Pro Max worth it this late in the year? Well, if I'm being honest, I would say yes, because everything that you need in a phone, the 13 Pro Max will give you and will last you for many years to come. And there it is, my review on the iPhone 13 Pro Max after almost a year of use. Now let me know down in the comments, would you still get the iPhone 13 Pro Max with the iPhone 14 Pro Max coming out? Let me know. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I'd like to say thank you for sticking around. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It'll be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.